banned out for Blacklist International playing on the blue side, and RRQ, Joy, Nolan, a lot of dashing assassins on the red side.
Again, just to put things into perspective, it's a chess battle right now with these generals at the helm. Coach Master the Basics, Coach Dexter going up against Coach Cabral, former XP laner of the lineup that Luis once was part of. Going into the first picks, what's left open? I'm looking at a Matilda still out there, Angela, couple of key pickups. Guinevere, oh!
It's all up. It really is all up. A lot of power picks often, but this varies amongst teams, right? So far, in terms of success rate, blue side, pretty good. And there it is, Guinevere.
Solid choice, first pick. Again, you know, this is still flexible, at least from what we've seen up to this point. Could even go in the roam, could obviously go in the jungle here. We saw so much, I would say, improvement from Sensui alone over the course of these months here, and also the fact that, again, they didn't send this group over to MPLI, right? Because the whole purpose of that was to expand their hero pool. That's kind of what they talked about. They really wanted to prepare for this. Now, begs the question, what's going to happen here with their draft? But on the flip side, RRQ Akira already going to lock in the Claude here and that Baksha pick.
I don't know, especially for RRQ Akira. As much as I like to believe that Gusta Lagusta, he is a beast when he gets his hands on that Claude. I want him to have a more lane dominant matchup. I was expecting something along the lines of maybe holding up that Bruno instead of banning it to pick it up for themselves.
They can go for a Bruno for
in today's metagame. Again, we're about 2 days straight into broadcast and the competition. Claude has seen some modicum of success, so it's all about execution, and with the Baksha by his side, they can own parts of the map. Blacklist claps back, putting the Brody into Ohem's hands, and the Lilia in US.
Wow.
This doesn't confirm anything though, where the Guinevere goes.
So that's actually very good.
Still up in the air, you know, and I think that's the strength here, the strength play. But these picks coming out really quickly, and you know, I gotta say, it's mostly just how confident they're gonna work around showing these picks right now, flexing the Guinevere possibly, depending when we get to that second phase.
Yeah, I think for now, at least hiding it is a very good idea to stay flexible. The Valentina gets locked in for the side of RRQ Akira, just to kind of agree with the same sentiment, right? If you're gonna hide your picks, at the very least I know that I have escape mechanisms and tools to finish you off if you are below a certain percentage of health. But as we go into the second phase, right, this is where it gets dangerous. RRQ making sure that Agent Zero might just get pinched here.
Yeah, no, that's likely the angle. But just the same, is it worth it to attack Edward? Because Tekash also has no hero just yet. I mean, we don't know if that's going to be an XP Baksha, so to say. But at least they have first names. I get it. I see where Cabral's going.
I don't know. It's a little scary to think of throwing this Baksha over into the EXP, because that begs the question, what's so important in the jungle that the EXP must take the bullet for the team? And I don't think there needs to be, it doesn't need to go into that red zone just yet. You see the next man going into the Utah, and even Blacklist has started to pick up on the idea of what the EXP lanes matchup is going to start looking like.
Yeah, you want to play hardball? I'm game. So now Cabral has to step on the clutch. I think he's talking to Luis, hey man, this is a good idea. What else do we do? Do we choke it out? What can be left for the young Tekash?
I'm really hoping that Benedetta gets slipped through the fingers of both of these teams. Either side would be extremely exciting.
They're both Benedetta specialists!
They are.
All throwing back to Jakarta, and Tekash, that was his breakout hero!
Oh man, there's the, again, focusing on that XP lane, right? Focusing on that, I think that's the right play here, especially for game number 1. It is that best of 3, and you know they want to start the foot off right, because like you said, Gideon, whichever team here gets that momentum from game 1 is possibly going to bring them to a sweep if they can get there, right? Now, one thing too is we know how just impactful XP lane can be right now in the current meta and how it shapes out, especially with such a focus on objectives. Now, one thing we pointed out from the wild card when we were there is that teams, there it is again, Grizzly taken out. What is left for the XP lane? Oh, right away!
Edwards has been pinpointed.
Right away. The classics, they're whipping out the classics.
Wow,
so honestly, when I was thinking of classics for this matchup, I'm like, come on. We got to see a Benedetta at some point. We also got to see a Beatrix at some point. But hey, you know, it's still a best of 3. There's plenty of games to be played.
You know what? It's not impossible that we see a choke from Renegade. Also, also
think
Akaja
Blacklist,
from
if they want
Luis.
to go for a
These
Lapu
are
here, that's
key
the only
pickups for
choice
either team, and
Probably.
neither athlete.
Probably is like
Both
the
I
only
very
choice.
love so much on a very deep
Or
level,
something
but
up
instead,
the Matilda as
they pull the
usual,
trigger.
Renegade.
There's the Matilda.
Not
We were
really,
looking
not
for
really
the
surprised
start,
of that.
and of course the Edith.
Edith.
All right, you know what? I'm
Edith.
still confused.
Edith.
Nope. Never mind.
Right, so it's
I know
kind
where
of
the
slow
Edith's going.
rotation, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
they
yeah,
have Matilda
it's
that
looking
actually
real
assists
good
them for
here.
mobility.
At least for Blacklist International.
then
To
the
me,
rest of
I
the
think they're
also,
the more
like,
flexible team,
in
right?
terms of
It's all
poking,
about
there's
execution at the
enough
end of the
of
day
it.
and
In terms of
overall
mobility,
team play
there's
that really
enough to
define
supports
Blacklist
damage,
International. So
poking
far,
also from
I think a
Julia
lot
is
of weight
enough.
is put on both OHEB as
So
well as UA to
RRQ,
kind of create, not only create that space, but be very
Angela's
careful
still
with their
open.
positioning. That Benedetta could be deadly, especially with a quick
Yeah.
follow-up from a Kufra.
Yes, exactly.
Another.
Kufra. I forgot about this one.
I would say that
Yep, okay.
this is like a
So,
signature pick,
based
right?
on the draft,
You mentioned earlier what could go in the hands
Actually,
of Luis.
right,
This is
it's a very
perfect
genius
for the
draft
lineup
from
that they're
both
bringing
sides,
here
though.
for game one.
That's
They've
the
been-
third in his
They've
trinity.
been
The Kaja,
trying
the
to
Cho,
limit, pressurize
and
the EXP
the
lanes.
Kufra.
Because
Here we go. In just a
to
bit, we're
my
about to get the
extent,
numbers
if I'm
and the
not wrong,
lowdown on these two
I mean, of
lineups
course, Edward
between
is
Blacklist
always the
International
playmaker.
and
But,
RRQ
for-
Akira
what's it
going
called?
into game one. Gideon, how do you reckon?
The quick breakdown is
For,
going to look like RRQ
RRQ
trying to
Akira's
slow down the
ASP
overall
also
snowball that could be
is a
developed by
playmaker.
Blacklist
So let's take a
International.
look.
Keep
Late
your eyes on
game potential,
Sensui
yes,
because he's
favors
going to be the
the
big
dub.
linchpin for
Blacklist
this team as they
favors
start
the dub.
moving into the
Survivability.
mid-games. Those neutral
Yeah,
objectives from third
survivability-wise,
turtle
it's
onwards is
definitely
going to be
RRQ's game.
highly
And then
contested by
pushing
RRQ Akira.
potential.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
that's going to be
also
enough for
from them
Luis
as
to
well.
find
They're
that
far
pick.
more
Here we go. Game number
Alright, so,
one.
yeah, game
We're
number one,
loading
guys.
into
Blacklist
the land of
International
dawn.
versus RRQ
Joseph,
Akira.
Gideon, the
Oh,
rest of
see
the
how
world,
they're gonna
welcome. Join us here for game number one between RRQ Akira and Blacklist. Let's notice the early rotations. Which of these teams actually might want to go fast?
Well, personally for me, I think it's going to be Blacklist International. There's so much snowball potential with a hero like Guinevere as well as the Brody, both of which can be enablers to start hitting bigger structures rather than playing for neutral objectives. Because keep in mind, that mid lane, UA has to have a good lock on it, and maybe it could be a potential for Luis to punish, but in most situations, especially when you have Purify, it's going to be a little harder than it looks.
Not only that, but you know, so far from what we've seen, I feel like we've been focusing so much, even on the roam potential, Luis, even in the jungle. Again, gold lane in this factor with these two teams is going to be huge, right? We already know signature pick, Gusta Lagusta loves this Claude. We've seen it shine, not only in the way that it can turn the tide of some of these team fights, but even the split push potential later on.
I could hear everybody just get a little nervous there, like, oh, Gusta Logusta, you can't be given first blood like that so early on. But keep in mind that a lot of the EXP lane bans were targeted towards Edward,
Probably,
and
right.
Blacklist
The
International
next-
replied.
the
So
next,
that's why King is
sorry guys, I
up
was
here
actually
to
still
make sure that Edward feels that pressure. And
Okay.
smart decision by
Well, I
Edward to
think,
freeze
right,
that lane as
later the
quickly
content
as
from
he
Ikea will
can.
be like,
All right, so pressure down
target
bottom,
ban,
Blacklist
Edward,
up top,
the
RRQ.
Agent
Here they catch
Zero.
him in mid.
Gonna go for Sensui
I
here,
kinda feel
but
like I actually
gets out
watched,
easily with a guiding
Zeki
wind. Again,
kills,
I'm
content,
expecting
and also
somewhat of a
EKL's
stalemate
content, so
until that first turtle
kind
comes
of
out
like
here.
that.
Yeah, and
they-
even
I
when the
kinda
first turtle
find
comes
their,
up, right? Keep your eyes on both the
contents very
supports. They have a
interesting
very
sometimes.
important role. Like Renegade not only has
on
to
a certain
somewhat
extent,
give information, but also save the
sometimes
team
a
members who
little
won't have their
love-hate
ult in
relationship,
time for the
ha,
fight,
ha, ha.
or are a little too far
Okay,
deep.
so
And
that's
based
like
on what
the
we are
game,
seeing from at least the Emblem sector, UA, he's making sure that he has the cooldowns to maintain that mid control.
Turtles already spawned.
Okay, let's see. Okay,
Both
so
teams
as
going for the
usual,
pull.
we like to
Blacklist
tend to like
wins.
to do go
Gonna go for the
support
reset.
dance here.
Looking at the back line,
Lord Dance is
RRQ
still okay.
Akira
Lord
reinforcing
Dance is a
that.
bit risky.
Stolen ult is
It's
the
like
Primal
the
Wrath.
KP-based damage from
What's gonna
Lord
happen?
is just
RRQ
so
gets the
annoying.
pull.
See how they play around it. Sensui gonna jump in already with a spatial migration into the Requiem on the backside. They're gonna go. Edward somehow gets the turtle. Still, are they gonna fight for it? Renegade gonna go in with that circle eel. Takashi falls into the jungle. Flicker out from Edward. Renegade, one hit away and he'll get out
Oh
just
my
fine.
goodness.
That's a little upsetting.
That's why
Everything
I
that could
love
have gone
Blacklist
wrong
International.
went wrong. RRQ Akira made all the
Jeez,
right decisions,
that
but we're
synergy,
unable to
bro.
finish
The
off the two
synergy
gold members
is
of
the
Renegade,
count.
as well as Edward. And now Gusta
They can buzz
Lagusta
him.
is just
They can
taking
buzz him. They can
damage as
buzz him.
OHEB is having the time of his life down by gold lane. This
Now,
was one of the few things that
who's
RRQ
the meaning?
Akira
Gusta
actually
gonna-
needed so they could
Gusta
start
will-
pressing advantages
Gusta
in the
will
side
be having
lane.
a very
I hate
hard
to say
time
it, but in the 3 minutes that have elapsed, it's clear Blacklist International have a mechanical advantage. Every little inch, the little decisions that you make in the fraction of a second makes a difference. It adds up to about 1,000 gold ahead now, even in the gold lane. That's far isolated from what happened in the turtle pit. You can see that OHEB is giving Gusta Lagusta hell.
Oh, man, I think as long as Blacklist International kind of maintain this pace and not give RRQ Akira that initial burst, then it should be fine, right? Because OHEB's already doing a very good job.
Sensei,
once again,
one more
the
hit, bro, one more
focus
hit.
in this gold lane. Blacklist
And
International
guys,
knows if they're able to get a kill here,
Just
even
for
in the hands
just for the record,
of
I'm a
OHEB,
guy who is
it's going
very,
to give them a big
very,
advantage, and that's
I'm a big
exactly what they
fan
want
of
to do with this momentum
Green
play
Evil
here.
with a tank
Gentlemen, they're
use.
cracking down on Gusta Lagusta.
Just-
Luis has to
just
play
because, you know,
babysitter.
some of
This
my
is not how you want to see the Heartbreaker play.
friends
He's
in
so
Malaysia,
mechanically
they
gifted. He
don't,
was once in the
and
gold
also
lane, so he
random
knows
players
little
doesn't
inches
like
that
the
make up a
idea of
mile.
Green
It's
Evil
just
tank.
not how he plays to protect his gold laner. This is tough.
Yeah,
Very
playing
sad, but
defensively is not
it is
ideal,
what it
especially
is.
when you're a Kufro. There's so much that you could be doing, but at the end of the day, it's still dependent on your
Okay, so
teammates. And
Sagan
let's not
gets the
forget,
black
it's not
shoes.
only affecting Luis, it's also affecting Sagan. The
Whoa,
way
whoa,
that
whoa.
he
But that's a
he's
lot of
fine.
damage.
He's all right. Thank goodness. Whew.
Still on the black shoes, right?
Yep.
And he's also rocking Purify. Actually, there's a couple over here.
Okay, so
You're going to have to really play
that's
around
gonna
that
take it.
because even on the other side, RRQ Akira has their Purifies as well to deal with a lot of the
Okay,
CC
so
going to be thrown
that's
at them. So you can
the
see it.
Purifies.
Everybody
I
except
think
these
Blacklist
gold laners
can
getting
do
ready
this.
for this.
Oh,
Renegade going to go ahead and use that Circle Eagle. Edward
Oh,
jumps in the flicker.
that
Right
was
outside, gets that
insane.
black shoes out
Edward.
himself. There's a spatial migration. Takaki's
yeah.
going to fall again. Luis
Yup.
tries to
They get it,
follow
they
up,
get
but
it.
he's got no
I love the
backup. As
skirmishes.
it's a
The
double
skirmishes
for
is just
Edward.
clean.
And
The
that's also going to be the
Agent
turtle
Zero is
secured
just
up for
so
Blacklist
good.
International.
Deja vu, and they're still
Oh,
not done.
Mamma Mia.
Still going to be putting the pressure in the mid lane. They don't want to let up
Oh,
here.
that was smooth.
Beautiful
That
stuff. Honestly,
was
really
smooth.
beautiful stuff coming in for the side of Blacklist
Wow.
International. The way that they actually look to punish RRQ
We see
Akira
that.
is very
We see
simple,
that-
right?
that-
They're looking
those
for Sagan
turtle
specifically, and
fights.
even for Edward,
Blacklist
he has got
did
his
it.
guns out.
The
Gusta's
only-
Oh,
Oh,
no!
that is just
Okay,
the Philippines.
jumps in with a spatial migration,
feel
though.
that.
Luis,
And,
thankfully there in
If you really want
time.
me to say
It looks like there
something
might want to be a
that I
response.
can
You're
match
seeing
up
here
with
how
Blacklist.
precise and how exact Blacklist International's
Onyx,
movements are. Was this
Convoys
not just a
from other
replay of what
regions.
happened in the first
Probably
turtle
Lil
fight?
Gun, yes,
A big
but
win up
let's
top,
see how Lil
a
Gun
kill,
performs
and then a
later.
rotate down bottom, and eventually they convert it into a turret up top. They're trying to turn on Edward. Is this the right call?
I think at this point, RRQ
And then
Akira
if-
need to
if
find
it's in five
anything that
teams,
they
then
possibly
one will
can.
win.
Look, Edward, he's trying to
The
protect his
most
turret.
the only one that
Wow,
can
he
down
does.
with the
Keeps it alive, utilizing that Primal Wrath against the two members of RRQ Akira.
brute
Like a
force
Chad.
of Guinevere.
He won't let it go.
That's a
This
good
is
item.
like one
Oh,
of those
that's
ego
the
challenge moments,
first
right?
item,
First
bro.
item, he decides to go, you know what, I'm
Wow.
going to get blade armor. I'm still playing for
A
the
nice
team. And
idea.
it's clear in these
It's
team
like you're
fights that he
giving
knows
Huss
his
his,
role.
what
On the
was it called?
opposite side,
His quota
RRQ
reduction,
Akira,
at
they
the same
start to
time,
feel this
every time
snowball
you
actually
jump
piling up. The
in,
real
your
question is how
defense
do you
stacks
actually
up.
approach these
That's the
situations,
general
especially
idea.
since
So
Blacklist
she's
International,
gonna be
they're not
constantly
wasting
dealing
movement.
with-
They're very
Oh,
efficient.
they're going to be able
Okay,
to find their
defender,
target here.
defender,
Sensui could be in
blazing
trouble.
whoever
He's going to
did
fall.
not just save the
RRQ
day.
Akira
They could
grabbing
not
their
survive it,
first
so
kill here.
they had to
No,
let it go.
wait,
I mean,
second.
it's a
First
tank,
kill
it's
for
initiative.
Saigan.
Yeah,
It's
it's
initiative
their
work.
first
It's
kill,
just-
and they spot
I'm
out
fine.
the jungler, Sensui,
Be
who,
fine.
by the way, I just got a note, man. What's going on?
Roar.
His
Alright,
first
get it.
item after the casual Molten Essence is
Oh,
the Brute Force
one more
Breastplate.
Luis.
Is there
I
no
feel
better
like very-
sign of
I'm
success
very
than excess? You usually don't build Brute Force Breastplate. Like, what was he thinking? Is it because of the damage coverage that RRQ Akira has?
Well, that also, as well as the fact that he might
the
be
one
looking
that
for
I know the
opportunities
most
to actually
Gusta
outfarm
and
his
Luis
opponent, right?
and
Especially
Takashi.
you're up against a box heel. Let's keep that in mind. The movement speed is going to be useful.
They could use it here for this turtle. They're going to go for it. They jump in,
Oh,
but Sensui
wow, Sensui
somehow
just like
steals
jumped in.
the turtle
Wow.
away. The retry on point. Takashi
Retry on
falls
point.
again.
Yes, exactly. Thank you,
That's the
Nancy. That
third
was
now.
in- that
Blacklist
was
International
insane.
finding the
And
punishes
then look
where
at-
they
just
can.
look at
Notorious
the-
for having
the
some of the
jump
sharpest
distribution.
retributions. Dare I say, the best of the
free-farming on
best
top, pushing
from
up in the
all
top
of the
there.
Philippines, Southeast Asia,
And
the
then-
world. Sensui's retribution is notorious. It's world class.
Edward dealing the damage.
Blacklist.
That's
Oh,
it.
whoa, whoa, whoa!
Still going to be going for it again,
Okay,
trying to hold down
Luis,
this mid
they
lane.
escape from that,
They're going to
but not
force them
the
back,
turrets
but that's
down
just the
already.
objective for
Yeah,
Blacklist
just
International.
International.
So you
Really
see,
good moves
the
coming
job
up from
distribution
specifically the
was
Hitman,
so
right?
clear.
He is sniffing
four of us-
out where
the four of
Louise
them
is. He understands what
skirmish
Kufra
on the-
wants to
on the
do, and
turret
if he's able
area,
to smother it
and then
really
Oheb
early
is
on.
gonna
Go!
No, he's
Because
fine.
they
Look, it's
know
Edward,
RRQ
right? Agent Zero, he's
really
not a
wanted
prime
to
target for
invest
RRQ.
themselves in the turret
Oheb,
area.
however, that's where the target is on.
Yeah, no, Oheb's just been silently working.
So,
and it's the same you can say for the Gash. He's just finding these little windows, sneaking through some value, keeping this gold lead under 5K, 8 minutes in. RRQ Akira, their map, their real estate, it's shrinking. Where are you going to find farm to put on Gusta La Gusta?
I mean, even with this,
Gusta
like,
cannot farm.
when they try to find their own moments,
One assist now.
that's where the
Wow,
guiding wind
that's it,
plays
that's
such
it.
a integral part of this.
It's
Blacklist
free
International is
now,
able
you
to
see,
just pull someone to
the
safety,
moment
and
when you
RRQ
guys
Akira, they're
see
trying to just kind
Oheb
of
is going
catch up
for
right now.
BOG,
Just
you
struggle
know
a little bit
how
here.
far-
They're
how
5K
far he has
behind
left you guys.
nearly the 9-minute mark.
Gideon, are you seeing
I mean,
this? Are you seeing this?
Brody, right?
Oheb
I
is
mean,
a
of
world
course,
away
the play of
from
this
Gusta La
pair
Gusta. That's
is
almost
actually,
2,000
I mean,
gold.
It's
the
almost
most
2,000
expensive
gold
item.
here, right? And we're
But
talking
if
about
you're
like
given
questionable things that
given
are
that
being
free
built right
space
now.
all
I'm
along,
already
just
looking
go
at
for
Benedetta.
something
He's going for the
expensive,
blade of
that's it.
Heptaseeds.
Stack
It's
on
like a
the
semi
freaking
damage,
damage,
but
and
you're
then
not
first blood
going
everyone
for
in
Hunter
comes
Strike,
in
which
the
is
wave, and that's it,
generally the
that's
more
my job.
efficient item because you need the movement
So,
to get in and out of these
pretty
fights
GG
rather than the
for
burst. And then he's building full tank after. So I don't know about Takashi right now, but I think he recognizes that his moves are too telegraphed, so he might as well get the stats to buff him up to make sure, even though his opponents know it's going to happen, that he will protect himself.
That's true. Again, we can only really theorize and wonder what's going on in these odd builds. Look at the damage. Look at you. Wow.
Damage.
I mean, that's the best that we can actually put it, right?
I mean,
12. Well, again, he is so far ahead of the curve. UA is that important when it comes down to these to the peel from RRQ Akira, especially when they find that initial
That's as far as
engage,
they go.
and that's when we see the snowball actually happen, right? It's all part of the checklist.
Now
Unlock
seeing
the
this,
Oheb,
right, I'm
get
very,
into
very
their
worried
jungle,
about my
start
point.
taking them down on neutral objectives, and from third turtle onwards, it's Blacklist International control.
I'm just wondering at this point too, you know, as that is literally a free lord for Blacklist to take here as they march in, where can RRQ Akira find these wins, right? Because normally you would think, well, maybe split push would be an
Guys,
answer,
look
but
at
even
it.
at that situation,
I like this
it's too
one,
tough
guys.
to pull off
Take a
right
look.
now.
Yeah.
4
I think
assists for
one
each of
thing
the
for
hero,
sure is that
each of the
Seiken is
players.
really going to
Here,
struggle on this
Jay,
map, right?
Edward,
The big
and
game changer
Sensei.
is going to be Takashi
Kill
and Luis. They
participation,
really need to
100%.
communicate on the way they actually attack.
All right, luckily enough,
Okay,
RRQ
Edward
has
has the
respectable wave clear. They
Stalin
are going
side
to successfully
already. That
defend
was
in mid.
even
And I'd
more
like to
GG.
think you're right.
very,
And
very
from very
painful.
different angles, Gideon.
I forgot to
Takashi
see the
off
items though, but
the
I
fight.
wish to see
He
what's
has to be
the
very
complete
far
item.
away to try and again
At this
control that
stage,
gold lead,
10
control
minutes,
the map.
they're free
For
farm so
Luis,
fast, 6.4
man, you gotta get some defensive jumps in.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Again, they're going to lose this mid-turn. Sensui going
my
to jump
God.
in. Find
That
Mark.
was
Luis going to follow. And now
insane.
King
Double
to
kill.
follow.
Unstoppable.
They just get
Agent
obliterated
Zero,
in
Agent
the
Zero. You're
base.
just
The
a
Blacklist
beast.
International with the lead. They're going to go ahead and continue
Hey,
to
guys,
assault
that's
down
the
the
shortest
base
game ever.
turrets
Hey, leave
of
some time, man.
RRQ Akira. Do they cap
Really?
it out? Edward going to jump
What
in.
the
Takashi
heck?
falls.
Bro.
Gusta trying to keep the game going. Using
no.
the blazing duet, but it's
That's
not
it, that's it,
enough.
that's
As
pretty much
Blacklist
it, that's
International
it. Oh my
decisively takes
goodness!
game
The
one.
shortest game ever in
Blacklist
M5 history.
welcomes RRQ Akira
Wow.
into Manila with a dominant
Wow.
victory. Game 1 going over to Black.
That is
Blacklist
fast.
International feeling comfortable in their
That
own
was
skin,
fast.
man. This is why the new iteration of
Sheesh.
Blacklist International
That
is so
was
exciting
fast.
to watch.
Every
They're
single one
efficient,
of
they
them
sometimes
made
can
the
be
chemistry come
aggressive, but
full.
more importantly
Turtles
so, like
sold.
the Hitman
There's
himself,
only
he is
one Lord.
precise.
Not only with
Turtles
that, but again, if
only
you
one
look at
Lord
just
needed,
from
and
start
that's
to
it.
finish
That's the
of
game.
this game, the
11
execution,
minutes. The
every
fastest
role, every
game
lane,
against
just played the part,
four-time
right? There, if you really
champion
look
in
at
the
it,
MPL
it
Brazil.
started early on, even into
My
that first
goodness.
turtle. Things were at a stalemate, like we mentioned,
Okay.
into that first turtle,
Blacklist
and
is
then
getting stronger
very
before
quickly,
Brazil.
you know, this is kind of the
Anyways,
risk that
this
you
is about
take too
game
when
one.
you
I'll
walk
be
in
seeing
that
you in game
Benedetta.
two later.
We wanted